What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris, man. Here again, another Work Hard, Play Harder podcast coming to you. Conversations with CD, me being CD, Chris Drummond. Got a special guest coming on. His name is Wayne Epps Jr. He is a beat reporter for the VCU Athletics. For those of you that don't know what VCU is, it's Virginia Commonwealth University. So we're gonna talk some VCU stuff with him. We're gonna talk about his why, how he got started, talk about some things that he likes, things he doesn't like. But yeah, it's very good catching up with my man again because it's been a while since I caught up with him. So I'm gonna welcome him to the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It's my boy Wayne. Get it. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Last time I talked to you, I was an undergrad. Now I'm a graduate. So, it's been a while.
Sounds good.
It's been a while.
That's good to hear, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. First, I got to say thank you for coming on to the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, Conversations with CD. This is a podcast where we like to highlight people, talk about their why, or why they do, what they do, and also get to know you a little bit as well. So we're gonna have to talk about some VCU stuff, as you are the beat reporter for that. So we're definitely gonna get into that, but we're gonna start from the beginning. We want you to talk about pretty much any inspiration that inspired you to want to have a career gravitated towards sports journalism, and kind of talk about your childhood if you played any sports that also kind of led you into the career of sports journalism.
Yeah, I would say, I guess what really grabbed me into sports journalism was, I think I would say that the first sport I was really like a huge fan of, like diehard fan of, really was baseball, to be honest. Like
Okay.
I was a huge, I grew up being a huge Atlanta Braves fan because the Braves were always on TBS at the time. They used to have their games on TBS every single day.
Right.
And at that time, the Nats hadn't quite had their massing thing going on, and the Orioles were on in our area up in Virginia, and I guess you could say the DMV area. They didn't have or they had the Orioles Comcast Sportsnet up here.
Yeah.
At what it was called. It's not NBC Sports Washington, but the Orioles were bad. So the Braves,
Right.
the Braves, the Braves were in their like 14 straight division title streak at the time, when I first started like paying attention and being a fan. And so I was like, plus in Richmond we used to have their AAA team, Richmond Braves up here for a while too. Prospects or people on rehab assignments came through Richmond, so it was a good connection there. So I became a big Braves fan. And you mentioned playing sports, like I kind of that made me want to play baseball too. I like probably a lot of kids, like I had a like idea of like being a Major League Baseball player, whatever someday. And like I was like, this is all I want to do. Like, yeah. So yeah, I played Little League and quickly realized I was not very good at baseball. But at the same time, like at the same time, I think just that love of sports, like as I got a little bit older too. This was like, I guess you could say, middle school. So like, I don't know, that's like 12, 13, 14, around those ages. As I got a little bit older too, getting into junior high, like just that love of sports kind of led to like reading more about sports and stuff like that. And so like my parents subscribed to our local paper, which is called the Progress Index, in Prince George, Virginia, which is like half hour south of me. And so yeah, just like reading all the stuff in there, whether it was AP stuff or their staff written stuff and stuff like that. Like I think it kind of just built in my head like, hey, this would be really cool to like, cause I knew, like I said, I had that original idea, I wanted to be like a player. But I knew that that would be tough, but I still want to find a way to like be around sports and a career. And so just like reading all those things was like, hey, this could be a way to kind of be around sports and be around it, without being an athlete, so to speak. So yeah, I kind of got hooked on like reading sports, whether it was the sports pages or like ESPN.com, whatever the case may be, Sports Illustrated. Subscribe to that, ESPN the magazine, all those things. And then my high school, I was very fortunate. My high school had a good high school newspaper. And so my high school is 10 through 12. Junior high is eighth and ninth. And
Right.
so that ninth grade year, I applied to be a part of the newspaper staff that following year, my first year in high school, which was 10th grade in our school system. And so I ended up joining the staff and starting as a sports writer my 10th grade year in high school, and had a really good experience with that. I had a good sports editor and good teacher, and really like they really helped foster me and help me grow. And so that's when I was just like started building the idea, like, yeah, I think I want to really do this for real. So continued with that throughout high school, and kind of knew I wanted to like study journalism in college and did that. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of grew from there. So, but yeah, I think like I said, all kind of spurred from that, like being just a huge baseball fan, huge Braves fan, and like it all kind of started from there. So
That's dope. No, that's dope, bro. I love that. I love that a lot. I played baseball coming up. I played second base until the ball hit me in the face, and I said, "Let's go back out to the outfield."
Yeah.
I'm not with the bloody lips and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. So I went to the
Yeah.
outfield and did my thing out there. So
Yeah.
love baseball. I was a huge Padres fan growing up, as you know. I was born in Chicago, but raised in San Diego. So yeah, definitely was a huge Padres fan growing up for sure. You talked about college. Now you went to James Madison,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, James Madison University. Were there any other universities that could have stole you, Wayne? That could have persuaded you to go instead of James Madison?
Yeah. Well, I only applied to 3, which was of course JMU, VCU, and Virginia Tech.
Wow.
And to be honest, like Virginia Tech was kind of like I think just as a sports fan, like I was at Virginia Tech football is a big thing in Virginia.
Yeah.
And has been for a while, and I think that probably wrongly kind of was selling me on Virginia Tech. So I was like, for a while, I was like, I want to go to Virginia Tech. If I get in, whatever, I want to go to Virginia Tech. But and I did, and I was very heavily considering it. But I ended up getting a scholarship at JMU, and so that was a swinging thing, which I was very very fortunate for, and definitely don't regret the decision. Turned out to be a great decision, because to be honest, like I didn't know a whole lot about JMU before I started looking into colleges, but then getting a chance to go to the campus and everything like that, I was kind of blown away. And then, like I said, with the scholarship added in too, ended up being a good situation for me. So it worked out well.
Okay, I like that. You said academic scholarship. You got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's dope. That's real dope. It's great that you had those other schools in mind. Virginia Tech, obviously, from the Michael Vick years when we were super young when he went there and he was doing his thing. So yeah, and powerhouse football school. They may be coming back because Clemson's starting to fall off a little bit. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
I want to ask you some of your favorite things. Okay, you just tell me off the rip what they are. Favorite movie genre?
I'll say comedy.
Comedy. You have a favorite movie?
For a while, it's kind of generic, but I would say like I thought like Forrest Gump, just because, but like just because it has a little bit of everything. It has a comedy, but then it also has like the drama, like the romance, the history, has everything in one movie, and it's a really long movie too. So you kind of get that thing in there. So if you had to pick one movie that's like the perfect movie, that's probably it.
Yeah, it is. It's long. It's not Titanic long, but it is long. That's for sure. And it does have a lot of drama, funny, and stuff like that. I actually got my nickname. My mom calls me Bubba because of that movie. So.
Yeah, your jumbo shrimp. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Popcorn shrimp.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So she called me that because of that movie for sure. Favorite music genre?
Definitely rap. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Who we listening to? We riding in the car? We heading to work? Are we heading to somewhere? Who we listening to? Who we bumping?
It could be anything really, but to be honest, like again, it's kind of basic, but I think if I had to pick one that I just had, if I was only restricted to listening to one, I'd probably be Drake, just because his catalog is just hit after hit after hit. Yeah, I mix it up, like I like Gunna a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I don't know why, I kind of got into like a phase where I listened to a lot of like UK rap too, like they're like drill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff too, yeah. So I listen to a little bit of everything.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. A song of mine that was pretty popular that I've been bumping lately and just had on repeat. I don't know if you heard Drake Behind Bars. That song called Behind Bars.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It was on
you
the
heard that?
wasn't on the Top Boy soundtrack.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's like him trying to be a grime artist.
Yeah, right. That song is smashing. It's smashing,
Yeah.
bro. I love that. Okay, I feel you on that. All right, favorite place you traveled to?
Um, well, I would say I love going to New York anytime. But I guess if I had to pick something a little bit out of the box though, probably be uh, uh, one kind of I think sort of secret destination that maybe a lot of people are on, but I think it's a cool little city is Charleston, South Carolina. That's a cool little spot.
Mm,
Um, and then
okay.
And then one place, like probably my favorite place to go, like for work, was Maui, Hawaii. I got to go one time.
Oh, yeah.
That
Well,
was like 4 years ago. VCU was playing in the Maui Invitational, so I got to go out there to cover that. And so that's just like it's the next level beautiful out there. Like the mountains and the water and everything. It's crazy.
oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Definitely know about that. That's for sure. Speaking of
yeah.
travel, are they allowing you to travel this year with the team?
Yeah, yeah. Usually, for the most part, since I've been on the beat, like during the regular season, I get to go places that are drivable. So, I'll go to Philly and, DC, and when I go down to Davidson in North Carolina, I'll go there, places like that. And then like in postseason, I pretty much, thankfully they'll send us anywhere. So, no matter where they're playing at, I usually get a chance to go. So, like for instance, yeah, I ended up driving, which was a long drive. But VCU played in the A10 final this past spring up
Mm,
at University of Dayton, so I drove
yep.
up there. And then when they went into a tournament, briefly, unfortunately, when they went out in Indianapolis, I went out for that. But then, of course, they couldn't play because they had the COVID issue. So
Yeah.
they were supposed to play Oregon. So ended up I was out there. Ended up not covering any basketball, but came on back home. But yeah, they allow us to travel. Like I said, it's a little bit. It's not every single place during the regular season, but in the postseason, they'll pretty much send us anywhere the team is going. So.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is because this year particularly,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the VCU schedule, and we'll get into it because I definitely want your expertise on the team and everything. But they do play Vanderbilt this year at
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt. I don't know. It was a game that I was interested in going to for sure because I just love Nashville, and I was going to be out there for a Preds game anyway. So I was like, you know what? If my man Wayne is up there in Vanderbilt, I definitely got to holler at him and see what's good. So that's why I was asking. I didn't know they let y'all travel.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we'll get to go to that game. I don't know. It's probably about like 6-7 hours from Richmond, so I might hopefully get a chance to go out there. I was supposed to go out. They were going to play in a tournament last year
Mm-hmm.
at University of Tennessee. It was going to be called a Volunteer Classic, but
Yeah.
I got canceled because Tennessee had some COVID cases, and so VCU ended up going out to South Dakota, which I didn't go out there, but.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, that was the former Battle for Atlantis. It got turned into what was called a crossover classic, and they played out
Right.
in South Dakota. And so yeah, I didn't go to that, but yeah, I might go to that Vanderbilt. So I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, please do. Please do. We'll tap in with each other. Two more favorites. Favorite meal you like to cook?
I would say spaghetti, just because it's easy, and I love spaghetti, and it makes a lot of it. So it's like you have a lot of leftovers, so it's like a win-win.
It is easy to make. You right about that?
Yeah.
You can make a lot of it for sure. I love it. Very simple. That's how we are, though. Be very simple to the point, baby. Get that meal done. You can't have spaghetti though without either a roll, biscuit, or garlic bread or something like that. You gotta have spaghetti with one of those. That's for sure.
Oh yes, definitely some garlic bread. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, last favorite. Favorites. This is a two-part question though. Favorite sport you like to play. Favorite sport you like to cover.
Mm-hmm. Um, to play, I would say basketball. Well, I guess it's probably both. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, basketball. Just because you can play anywhere with any amount of people. Like all you need is two people. You have a one-on-one game. You
Yeah,
got three people. You can play 21.
right,
You can have four people
right.
two. You can play 2-on-2. It's just like it's the most like versatile sport. So yeah, we got a group of guys that from work at the Times Dispatch have been getting together to play basketball. So that's been fun. So yeah, I definitely say that's the favorite to play and favorite to cover, because covering it, like, I feel like it's the most it's a sport you feel closest to when you're covering. Like covering football, I enjoy that too, but a lot of times you're up in the press box and you feel a little bit disconnected from the action sometimes, because kind of the press boxes are usually kind of sealed in.
Oh yeah.
Um, for covering college or whatever. So and then for basketball though, like for instance VCU, they're one of the places that we still sit courtside. We didn't last year, of course, for the COVID, but for the most part we've been sitting. They have still a press row that's courtside, but still a lot of places that they're not courtside. You're still sitting like in the stands or something like that, and you can feel more of the crowd, and you're not like closed in a box like you are when you're covering football. So
Absolutely.
I would say basketball. It's one that it's tougher than football, I think, to cover, because it's so fast paced. But I still think it's more fun because you kind of feel like you're closer to the action.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's I love that. Basketball, definitely my favorite sport without question. Um, I do love. I mean, I'm covering high school sports, so I do cover the high school football games, and then whenever we get to the basketball season, I'll be covering that as well for a few games, and especially the playoffs. But you're right. I love football. You got to sit in the little press box. You are distant. Basketball, I sit right there on the floor, take my stats. I'm with the people that cheering out, or they're booing or heckling the referees or whatever. And
Yeah,
that's at the high school level. So I can just imagine how the college level atmosphere is. So
yeah.
that's pretty amazing. It's pretty dope. Um, the next question I want to ask you is, what kind of internships did you do while you was in the undergrad? Now I know one for certain that you did, and that was with the Boston Globe. I do know that. But what kind of other internships did you do while you was in
Yeah, I guess my first, it was kind of unofficial internship because I was kind of too young for a lot of the other ones. So I wanted to do
undergrad?
something after my freshman year, between freshman and sophomore year, and I
Yeah.
went home and I wrote for the Progress Index, which I mentioned, was that paper that I kind of, my parents had always subscribed to, that kind of like helped spark that interest. I just like did some work just for them during the summer, covering. We had this like summer collegiate baseball team down there called the Petersburg Generals. So I would cover some
Mhm.
of their games, and then I did a
Yep.
couple of little things. So that was good, just to kind of keep writing over the summer before I went back to school. Then my first like real internship was between sophomore and junior year was at USA Today, which their headquarters is up in Northern Virginia, so that wasn't too far, and outside of DC, and went up there and got to do a lot of baseball. They had me a lot between like Nationals Park and Camden Yards,
Yeah.
doing different like baseball games and stuff like that. Um, and then, like I said, Boston Globe, that was the following summer between my junior and senior year. And that was really fun. They had me working, which I enjoyed, because that was like my first real experience, like doing a lot of like daily coverage.
Yeah.
So I think it helped me get the confidence that I could like, do it full time, because, like in college, like our school paper was like twice a week.
Right.
Um, and in high school it was once a month. And so I was used to maybe doing like usually two stories at the most per week.
Right.
But the Globe, that was like my first real experience, writing every single day on deadline, stuff like that. So that was a really good experience. And then I did a post-grad internship on the summer after that in 2016 after I graduated at the New York Times. And so that was fun. It was more feature based, similar to USA Today. So I wasn't writing it as often, but did some baseball stuff and just some other like off the cuff features and stuff like that during that summer. So that was a good experience too.
And that's a hell of a internship profile. I mean, we talking about your hometown paper, USA Today, Boston Globe, New York Times. I mean, that ain't nothing to sniff at. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive to do that. You know what I mean? And now you're at the Richmond Times Dispatch doing your thing. So, kudos to you, bro, and what you did during that internship time. That's pretty cool. Now, you are full time here at Richmond Times. Obviously, you seem like a brother that's very personable. I wouldn't mind hanging out with you, that's for sure. I say that because I want to know, how do you balance with everything as far as your mental health and work life and social life? Like you said, sometimes you and the guys get together to play ball, but I'm sure during basketball season, which we're about a month away, they're probably in training camp now, kind of training and going through and putting on the last touches before we start the season next month. How do you balance your work life and social life and maintain good mental health?
Yeah, for sure. It's a good question. Yeah, I think you just gotta find those pockets. Like journalism is kind of different. Where it's not like 9 to 5 necessarily. It's like the hours can be all over the place. But like for us, once football season starts, like for the most part, you're doing something, some kind of work, pretty much every day. So it's not like you have built-in off days because you got your stories during the week, and then you're covering the game probably on Saturday, and then you're doing some follow-up stuff on Sunday, and you're right back at it on Monday. So
Right.
basically, for me, like when football season starts all the way through basketball season, that's the way it is. So you just gotta, even though you might not have a complete day where you just have a complete free day, that often between the fall and the winter, you just like find those pockets of time. Like I mentioned, like playing basketball, like on Sunday, I covered remotely a JMU game. They were playing at New Hampshire on Saturday. And like I said, I had a follow-up story to do on Sunday. So I just wrote that Sunday morning and got to play some basketball Sunday afternoon and kind of chill the rest of the day. So just like, kind of having a half and half. So just to find those pockets of time. I guess also just like I think having building those friendships with people, other people you work with too are good because they understand like how like weird the schedule can be. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think we talked about this once before. Last time we talked about just like sometimes stuff may come up. You have a breaking news story or just like working in the evening in general can like may not mesh with other people's work schedules, but just having friends either if they're in the business or not in the business who understand that I think is crucial too. So.
Okay, I like that. No, you definitely got to find those pockets for sure. Because you will go crazy if you don't find those pockets. So yeah, playing ball, hitting some jumpers, crossing some people up. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool that you do it on a Sunday like that. Um, Talk to me about this VCU because if I'm not mistaken, you cover football, basketball. What other sports on the beat do you cover?
Yeah, kind of general assignment with VCU. So I
Okay.
do a mix of stuff. So I cover JMU football in the fall. That's kind of like holds me over until VCU basketball season starts. And then with VCU, like basketball is the main focus, but I try to like do some features here and there on the other sports. So I'll try to check in. Like for instance, the VCU volleyball coach, they have a really good program, and the current coach just became the most winningest coach in program history this past Sunday. So I did a little feature on her yesterday, stuff like that. Or, there's a player playing really well. I might check in and do a feature on that player, whether it's soccer or field hockey or whatever the case may be. So I'll do that. And then in the summer, I do a lot of flying squirrels. That's our current minor league team. Once the Braves left, they went down there to Gwinnett. Um, we got the Giants double-A team called the Flying Squirrels. And so we go whenever they have a homestand. We were out there every day, and when we kind of cover it differently. Instead of doing like a straight game recap, whenever we go out to the park, we do like a feature. So maybe like a profile or like some kind of topical thing. So usually me and one or two other reporters will split the homestand. So I might take three, and somebody else takes three. So we do it that way, and then yeah, really like, especially in the off season, especially in that like spring to summertime when there's not a whole lot of college sports going on. Like I could do a little bit of anything. Like it's really all over the map. Like sometimes I've covered NASCAR a lot. They come to Richmond twice in the spring and the fall. I go out there sometimes. Just really anything, which I enjoy. It's nice to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, once the fall hits, I'm pretty much locked in on JMU football, and then once November hits, I'm locked in on VCU basketball through March, April. So
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that. For me, as I told you, so I graduated July of this year,
Mhm.
in the summertime. And prior to graduation, I had to do a beat on a summer college baseball um, league. And it was basically 18. And what I was doing was I was writing different kind of stories. I wrote a story on the Atlanta Crackers, which, as you see my hat, it
Yeah.
says the AC on it. So, and Atlanta Crackers is an old team, and I was did a feature story on them. And then also I did do a couple of gamers where I did profile on some of the athletes because they come from different colleges to play on this summer team. And then I also did a story on a historic field, which was in Columbus, Georgia, where there was all kinds of Hall of Famers that played on this field, and it was closed down for 12 years. So I totally relate to when you talk about doing the summer baseball thing. When you did that, that's what I did to graduate. That was my capstone to do. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of words, no question about that. But it was so fun to cover different stories like that, to have that opportunity to cover stories like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
The next, now I was going to talk to you about VCU. This is basically VCU basketball team. I want you to give me your prediction of what you think this VCU basketball team is going to be this year. What players should we look out for? And what do you think? Are they going to make any noise in their A10 division that they're in? And do you think they're going to make a run at the postseason?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting year, just because like they lost their best player in a unique circumstance for VCU, in the fact that they had a player leave early for the draft, which doesn't really happen at VCU, and that was Bones Highland, who left after his sophomore year this past July, and was drafted in the first round by the Nuggets, and he's playing really well. He just last night the Nuggets had their preseason opener, and he put up 19 against the Clippers. He's playing really well. Which is good to see. Really good dude, really good player. But at the same time, yeah, that's a big hole for VC to fill. But still, they bring back pretty much the entire team, besides Bones for the most part, that got them to the A10 final and got them to the at-large bid in the NCAA tournament this past year. So it's still a really strong team. They had an unfortunate injury blow last week, though. A player who was expected to take a big leap in Jameer Watkins, who was he's now a sophomore, was a freshman last year, and was a really big spark off the bench, 6'7" wing, really athletic. And so he's going to be out most likely for the year. So he's going to be a big contributor. But they brought in a couple. They brought in this freshman Jaden Nunn, who might end up being the starting point guard, because also they have another injury. The returning starting point guard Ace Baldwin tore his Achilles.
Oh wow!
In May. Well, he's gonna be out for the first part of the year. He's probably gonna be back in January, but they're gonna have to replace that for the first part of the year. And so, like I said, it sounds like Jaden Nunn is going to take over that starting point guard job to start the year, a freshman. But he's a really, really talented freshman. Former Iowa State commit and decommitted and ended up coming to VCU. And they got this transfer from University of Washington named Marcus Johannes, who's going to be in the mix at either point guard or shooting guard. And so yeah, like I said, losing a player like Jameer Watkins, that's a blow, but they have a lot of depth because, again, they bring back so much for last year's team, and they brought in some really good additional pieces too. So I mentioned Jaden and Marcus; those are two newcomers. The other newcomers, they brought in this guy from St. Louis, Nick Kern, a freshman, a really talented player. Guy down in Georgia, Jalen Deloach, really, really talented big man, sort of stretch big man. And they got another transfer named Jimmy Nichols Jr. from Providence, another big man who has a lot of potential as well. So, they really infused, even though they lost Bones, they really infused the roster with some good talent. And then, like I said, bringing back what they had from last year. I still think it's going to be a quality team. I still think they're going to be contending up there and at the top four of the league. Pretty much every preseason poll right now has St. Bonaventure won, who BC lost to an A10 final this past season, because they brought back every single starter. And every single starter averaged double-figure scoring this last year. So they're going to be tough this year. I actually saw it was an Andy Cass article today. He had them as like a sleeper for Elite 8 team this year. So St. Bonaventure is going to be tough this year. So they're probably going to be the preseason favorite. And then number 2 is most likely going to be Richmond in the preseason poll when that comes out.
Okay.
Yeah, because Richmond brought back all but one of their players as well, because they had a couple seniors who decided to use the extra year that the NCAA gave because of COVID. So they're a very experienced team. And then VC plus like it's going to be 3, so they should be up there. And of course, being a top 4 in the league, that's a double bye in the conference tournament, which is really valuable. So I still think they have a chance to make some noise in the league and possibly make a run back to the final, the A10 final this spring. But it might be a little bit of growing pains and non-conference play as this like new conglomeration comes together and figures out how to play together. But like I said, still a lot of talent on this team. So I'm very, very curious to see how they come out of the gate.
I'm excited to see them too. I knew St. Bonaventure was going to be a team up in that division. Obviously being down here in the South, they're SEC, ACC is big time down here. But you got to pay attention to the other leagues as well. I knew the Bonnies is definitely going to be up there for sure. I think BCU can get the Spiders. I think they can get them. But you're right. A lot of new pieces because of some pieces that got injured, like you just talked about. It's going to be interesting how they implement everybody into that offense. That's why I'm excited for them to go up against Vanderbilt. I think that's a good road contest. You know, Vanderbilt's not a great team. I mean, they're good, they're solid, but they're beatable. There's no question about that. And I think going up there to Vanderbilt, it's interesting. I want to see how these boys play, VCU, because that would give me a little bit of something to see. Like, okay, can they really take St. Bonaventure? Because we all know they're probably going to be the cream of the crop of that A10, because they're really good, barring no injury for sure. I want to talk to you about some this or that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw two things out at you, and you just pick one or the other, okay? All right, here we go. Thanksgiving or Christmas?
That's tough, man. I'll say though Thanksgiving, just because it's just about the food. Like, like, there's no stress, there's no nothing. It's just food, just football, and just chilling. Like, which is what a holiday should be. So, yeah.
No question. Yeah. Now, are you a sides guy or a meat guy? Because to me, I like the baked macaroni and cheese. That's me.
Yeah. Nah, I would say sides. Like, my favorite part is when those yams and the macaroni and cheese on the same fork. Man, I can't.
That's flat. It slaps, my boy. Yes, it does. All right, I like that. Thanksgiving. Here we go. Drive-ins or movie theaters?
You said the first was drive-ins?
Yes, drive-ins or movie theaters?
Yeah, I'll say theater. Yeah, I actually never been to a drive-in. I want to, but yeah.
Yeah. Do they got them out there in Virginia?
There's a couple. They're a little bit out of the way, but I would love to go to one. But I never
been to.
Yeah.
I can understand. I get that. Okay. MJ or LeBron?
Ooh. Oh man, I'm gonna say MJ. Yeah, I'm gonna say MJ.
Okay, I like it. Yeah. Brady or Montana?
Ooh. I'm gonna say Brady too. I'm gonna say Brady.
Okay, say Brady. Yeah. All right, I like that. Basketball or football?
I'll say basketball. Yeah, basketball.
All right, I like it. Baseball or bowling?
Ooh, baseball.
I got you. Okay, a few more. Popeyes or KFC?
Ooh, man. I think in the past I would have said KFC, but I feel like they've fallen off a little bit. So I have to say Popeyes now.
I'm with you on that, Wayne. I'm with you on that. They definitely falling off. You know, you can't go wrong with the Popeyes fries, man. Them fries are something different.
Yeah. But those KFC beans and mac and cheese used to hit, but I don't know. The chicken kind of falling off a little bit. So
it's disappointing. It really is. It really is. Okay. New York City or Charleston, South Carolina?
New York City, yeah.
New York City. Okay, got you. You smiled hard when you said New York City. You love New York City, huh?
Yeah.
I know it. It's a great place, no doubt. Okay, last one. This is about chicken wings. Lemon pepper or barbecue?
Man, I might make some people mad with this, but I have to go barbecue. Yeah, barbecue.
Oh my goodness. Oh man.
I don't know. I'm not a big a fan of the dry rubs though. I like the sauce. Yeah.
Barbecue. Okay. You like it wet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I got you. All right, Wayne, this next question is about top events. Okay. What would be your top 4 events that you would love to cover in your career and
why? Top 4?
Top 4.
Got you. Man. I would say definitely Super Bowl, probably number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it's like that Game 7 thing, like, which I would probably want one of my next ones, but like who's gonna be the winner at the end of the night. Like, it's that one big event and someone to build up to it. So I feel like every sports journalist probably that's on their bucket list. So I would say Super Bowl 1. 2, I would say like Game 7 NBA Finals.
Yes, sir.
three, I would say March Madness national championship
Oh
game.
my goodness, yes, yes.
And then four, hmm, I want to throw something different in there. Um,
Okay.
Let me think. Hmm, maybe
Would it be
I
the
would say,
Olympics?
huh?
The Olympics?
Yeah, yeah, that'll be fun. But that's so much. Like if I had to pick just like one big event though,
Yeah,
I have to say like I'm not as big of a tennis guy, but I want to like learn more about tennis because I just feel like those finals are so epic. Like it's hours long,
yeah,
especially when you see those guys like Djokovic and Nadal go at each other, whatever, and it's like 4 hour match.
yeah,
So I would say it would be cool to cover like a Wimbledon final or something like that.
yeah.
If I knew
I
more
like
about,
it.
yeah,
Nah,
I
that's
think-
dope. That's pretty dope.
yeah.
Our list is definitely similar. Super Bowl without question. You're right.
Mhm,
I don't know a sports journalist that wouldn't want to cover a Super Bowl.
mhm.
Obviously, it's. I would love to do it in my own town
Yeah,
of California. But obviously California hosting it this year. But either part of the Californians, that'd be great. Wherever they have the stadium at. A Game 7 of NBA Finals, man. Hell, we don't have many Game 7 most of the time, but
yeah,
a Game 7 would be epic. That would be amazing because the tension, just just everything. I can still remember the Game 7 Boston against my Lakers
mhm,
11 years ago in the 2010 finals. I mean, man, that was epic. Watching it on TV, so I can just imagine people being there at the Staples Center for sure.
yeah, yeah.
The one you said that I really do agree on though is the March Madness.
Mhm.
There's nothing like a March Madness.
Yeah.
Um, I plan on going to the championship game this year. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be in it, but I plan on going to it. Last year, I actually bought tickets to go because
Mhm,
it was here. It was here in Atlanta,
mhm,
but we got COVID. This next year is in New Orleans,
mhm.
so I plan on going to at least a championship game this year. That year,
Yeah.
this year coming up for sure.
That's gonna be a
Um,
fun Final Four though, New Orleans.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
gonna be
it's
crazy.
gonna be absolutely crazy. I've never been to New Orleans, so I'm
Mhm,
planning on going. That's for sure. And
yeah.
the last one for me, outside the Olympics, would probably be a Stanley Cup.
Mhm, mhm,
I would love to do a hockey because
mhm.
they fight, and I love the fighting, and I love the hitting, and they just knock each other on each other's asses, and I love that. And it'd be great to see my Blackhawks in it.
Mhm,
But a Stanley Cup final would be totally awesome because the atmosphere in hockey is just different. It's crazy too. So
yeah.
that's no doubt. I like that.
Yeah,
I really
for
do.
sure. For sure.
Um, Now you've been doing this for a while as far as sports writing in the beat, and then even doing the internships, and even writing in college and in high school. What are some of the challenges that you have faced being in this industry? Because there's not many like you or like us aspiring to be sports writers. Not a whole lot of African American writers in the sports field. We are definitely a minority.
Mhm.
What challenges do you face being in this industry?
Yeah, I think that's one in general. Like you said, I mean, I would say it's a huge thing, but it's definitely you feel it sometimes. Just like you walk into a press box or just a media room or a newsroom, and a lot of places like there's not like you said, there's not any people who look like you. But
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I really have to commend like my spot, the Times Dispatch. So, like they really increased the diversity of the newsroom a lot the last couple of years. So that's been cool to see. But yeah, that's definitely something I think in sports, probably even more than other areas of journalism as well. It's like
Right.
not a lot of diversity in race or gender. So
Right.
it's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, that's definitely there. But yeah, I think also just in general, it's like finding ways to continue to grow and kind of push yourself too. Like it's definitely something like always try to challenge yourself. I don't know if it's necessarily like a traditional challenge, but it's something you maybe try to challenge yourself to do each year, especially like for instance, this is gonna be my fifth year on the VCU beat. So it's like, trying to find ways to continue to get better and not be stagnant on the beat and stuff
Complacent.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. So I definitely think that's one when you've been on a particular beat for a few years to trying to continue to push yourself to get better. I definitely think is one thing for sure. Because journaling is one of those things is like, all your work is out there for everybody to see. Like there's not much room. You can't, if you make a mistake, everyone's going to see it. Or if you're like, your work is subpar, everyone's going to see that. So,
Right.
I kind of like put the pressure on myself to like make sure everything I put out is like I feel good about it, or like feel the best it can be. So so that's definitely one thing about journalism, or one I guess challenge of journalism is like continue to like push yourself while everyone is reading your stuff too. You can't just like, say I want to take 2 weeks off and like work on my stuff and like get back to you, but you like got to keep writing as you're going. So
Absolutely, it's a grind.
Yeah.
I love that you pointed that out though about not being complacent, because it's real easy to be on a beat as long as you've been on it, and you do such amazing work. Obviously, I never told you this face to face, but the Louisville article that you did on the Muhammad Ali Louisville article, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I
Appreciate
loved it. When I started reading it, I couldn't stop reading. So it was that good, and I love that. And I'm glad you sent me that, and I would love anything else you send my way, because I just love reading great people's work. And it's not something that it's not something that I'm just forced to say. I mean, if it was bad, I would say it was hard. That's how I like to keep it a buck. And then, but at the same time, when it's good work, it's just good work, man. If you did a hell of a job with that story, you're doing a hell of a job on the beat. So I'm glad that you pointed that out about staying hungry and not being complacent. Because when you do such great work year after year after year after year, you're like, well, damn, I've been doing good work. I mean, this is year 5, year 6. What is going to motivate me to even push it a little bit further? You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you still find that motivation within you, because it's pretty cool to see from someone that looks like me. So it's pretty cool. I love that. The next question I want to ask you is about advice, and this is clearly just some advice either you have been given or you have gave someone about being in this sports industry that you hold on dearly to.
Yeah, it's isn't as big picture, but it's kind of a minute thing. But one thing that like always stood out to me, I was told by an editor at the New York Times, as far as just like writing feature stories, really any story in general, like just how the little details can elevate a story like so much higher. And so like in your reporting, just like pulling out like the smell of something or the feeling in a room or the color of something, just those little small details can really take a regular story from here to like something that's like extraordinary, or really push the person where you're at, which is like really the job of a journalist in a lot of ways. So yeah, that was one of the big pieces of advice that like was kind of small, but like kind of always stuck with me, that I like try to like when I can apply it to like even just a regular story. And then another piece of advice, that's one of my favorite pieces of advice that I was given by a professor in college, was just as far as writing leads, which sometimes could be a challenge for any writer. Sort of look at it as like if you were in a conversation with a friend, and you're coming out of an interview, like what would be the first thing you tell that friend about that interview if you were just like saying, hey man, I just talked to this person, like you won't believe this, like just kind of look at it that way, and pull that little bit and make that your lead. That's something that I kind of think, because obviously the lead is the hook, especially in today's day and age. Like there's so much like too long don't read. People aren't as maybe susceptible to reading long articles, so you got to like really hook them at the beginning. And so that's one piece of advice that always stuck with me as well. So I'll say those two things.
Definitely, I'm glad you said about the lead part, because I know for me, when I write game stories, I mainly just write game stories. I try to look for some other ones. I am working on a feature right now as a contributor to someone, contributor to a website. But the game stories, man, it's tough, because you know sometimes when you work a game and it's a blowout, and the other team, they lost bad, and it's like, man, I'm trying to write this interesting, but
Yeah.
but it's not very interesting when one team is scoring a whole bunch of points and the other team not scoring nothing.
Right.
And I talked to my sports editor, and my sports editor told me, he said, hey, you got to write what you see. I understand you got to write what you see though, because he always says that to me, and because I remember talking to him this particular season, there was a game between two teams where the final score was 48-0. It was 48-0 at halftime, and the game finished 48-0. And I told him, I really don't want to bash these other players in the team.
Yeah.
It's tough, because these are 14, 15 through 18-year-old kids that's out here playing for the love of the sport, right? And you don't want to say anything demeaning because most of the readers are going to be parents, consumers, and of high school sports, right? But he kept telling me, you got to write what you see. You can't, have to be unapologetic about what you write. You have to take the feeling out of yourself and you have to write to what you saw on the football field because that's the truth. They scored 0 points. It didn't have anything to do with you. You don't have to write anything too demeaning, but you have to write the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And that to me is my toughest thing, Wayne. It's the toughest thing for me because I'm saying to myself, these kids, it ain't like they're not trying. They trying hard, but they just losing bad. Now, have you ever had a story like that where you had to write like a blowout story for a VCU team or maybe, I mean, college may be a little different, but maybe even you was writing before for high school. Have you ever had to write a blowout story where you lost and was it tough for you? Is it tough for you to write those stories?
Yeah, it definitely can be. But I think, especially I think now I try to look at those like opportunities to like write something more topical or more featurey. Just pull out something, even if it's something small about maybe a particular player stepped up and had a bigger game, something like that, or whatever the case may be. And VCU has had a lot of those in the regular season, and JMU as well. JMU, has been one of the top teams in the FCS level for the last few years, and they have a lot of blowout wins. And VCU has had a lot of blowout wins in non-conference play as well. And so, the game might not be as interesting, but you maybe make like I said, make it more about whatever topical thing comes out of that game if you can. And so that's kind of how I approach it. Less game recap and more featurey if you can. So. And then if you have an epic, like close game, whatever the case may be, like back and forth game, then that's an opportunity to go more in depth about the game itself.
Yeah.
But when the game is not that interesting, like just pull out something that is interesting from the game. So.
Absolutely. I'm definitely gonna take that with me as I cover a game this Friday, another high school game. So I covered that. So I got my assignment. So been working on that for sure. Couple things before I let you go. One, just want to thank you for hopping on the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. I felt like I got to know you a little bit more. You was a baseball standout early on, or you still wanted to be a baseball player, but you just said, no, it wasn't for you. I feel you. You've done some great things as far as internships. We've learned that you like your wings wet, not dry rub. We've learned some other things about you as well. And like I said, the Muhammad Ali article was absolutely brilliant. And I would love to read more of your stuff. The second thing that I would like to say is that I always conclude my conversations with people like this. Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
No, I'll just say I appreciate you having me on. Anytime. Like I've enjoyed chatting with you and seeing the work that you've done. So, I love the grind that you're doing. Like that's what it takes for sure. So, continue. Send me anything you're proud of, any stories you're proud of. If you ever have any questions about anything as well, never hesitate to reach out. Always willing to chat with you, man. So it's always a good time.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, let me know if you are traveling to Vanderbilt because we got to tap in. I wouldn't mind shadowing you if it's possible because I've never seen anybody cover a beat on a basketball court as far as college. That would be amazing if we can make that happen. But for sure, let's stay tapped in with each other. Yeah, man, keep doing great work, and I'll definitely send you some articles your way and get your critique on.
Okay, that sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Well, you have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Thank you for hopping on my podcast. And my man, we will be in touch.
For sure, man. Take it easy.
You too, brother. I'm out.
All right, bye.